that blew them up.
Ah. Is it successfully?
Resoldered them successfully?
Yeah.
Or blew them up successfully?
No,
Both.
soldered them and
A
repaired
little
them
of both.
successfully. Well, you're successful in your recovery of your...
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Cool. And you are?
Kenny.
Kenny? The longest member of the group?
Yeah.
And handsomest?
I don't think so. But
No?
it's okay.
Best looking legs?
True.
Yeah.
Can.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm Leroy.
Project Monster.
They call me Project Monster. And the reason is I do projects. So I did the 3D printing this week. Played around with a little joystick thing on the Arduino. And a very, very cheap Wi-Fi adapter for the Arduino. And it works.
Cool.
This is probably a better demo than that is right now,
Oh, okay.
at this point.
Okay, we'll get into some details on that.
I'm Frank Hill. I played around with this I/O expander. I didn't do a lot on code. I didn't do a lot on wiring. I'm still trying to figure out in my mind how this thing works so I can tell myself a story. I wrote myself some notes and I wrote down some sequences as to how things are supposed to go. But it's a very complicated process. Not only the protocol, but it varies with devices and there's a lot of variables.
Protocol? The
I2C.
I2C, okay.
And I2C has to work with the device, like you have these memory registers in some devices and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And things like, you have start protocol for when you send data to it, and then you have a stop. You have to send an address. That address has to match the wired address that you have. You can send variable number of bits. I don't have it in my mind so that I could start from A to Z and say this is what happens in all sequences. It's kind of convoluted, but it's a good challenge. So.
You're back in school?
Yeah.
School started?
School started. I still got I had some power problems actually even today. Power was out starting last night at 1 o'clock and.
At school?
No, at my electronic stuff,
Oh,
my
okay.
network. So it took all my servers down. Still got problems with email with one of them. I did some more stuff on reading on 3D printers and Tinkercad. I play around with Tinkercad. I was going to ask a question about that. Seems like it doesn't let you specify, you can kind of freeform stuff, but it doesn't let you put dimensions in.
I haven't found a way to do it.
Now, people use Eagle CAD.
This one's cheap and free, that's why.
Eagle's free.
Cheap and free is good.
Yeah.
Eagle's free, isn't it?
I don't know anything at
It's
all about.
very popular.
And it's supposed to.
Is it actual software?
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
because Tinkercad's a website.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For what it is, it's pretty good. It's just that I know with drawing anything or actually creating anything, you need to have some way of kind of specifying dimensions.
With
Eagle, directly.
With Eagle, you can go and say, I want to work with the Arduino Uno, load the Arduino Uno file. And it's there, and you want to connect this to that.
I suppose you want to, like he made a nut, you want to put a hole in it. You want it to be a certain size, and you want the hole to be a certain size. I mean, they show you how to put the holes in there, but it's like trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you're going to get.
That's exactly what I found with Tinkercad.
Yeah.
You don't quite, the dimensions don't quite work the way you think they're going
if
to.
you're trying to center something, well, how do you know? You can move it in different directions and look at it, but it's basically eyeballing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I found the same thing. It's good for what it is, but it's a little limited, so.
I'm going to have to tinker with Eagle. So for doing wiring and stuff, it looks really nice, and a lot of
Now,
that stuff.
this
they-
thing does three-dimensional, like you can have a cylinder, and you can expand it, you can turn it into an oval, you can do all kinds of things with it. If
But
you
can
want
you
to do
import
objects.
symbols like Arduino?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes.
You do that too.
Yeah. I'm working on this plan here to get, maybe I'll get his, or maybe one better. I already sent kind of my initial proposal to this board, saying, look, I'm looking for money next year. And, 3D printing is gonna be one of the themes, and robotics, and, the Internet of Things. So it gives me license to buy some stuff.
You just come up here to get ideas to buy things.
That's-
huh?
that's what he does.
Yeah, I see that right now, Frank.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I'm Mike. Only been coming up here not even a year yet. Currently, I'm tinkering with the Arduino and 2 motor drives and 2 DC motors and trying to get the whiskers to sense and turn and reverse and avoid obstacles.
And what would be the end goal?
Lawnmower.
Oh, lawnmower, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yep.
I thought about that. With the lawnmower, when you have your hands on it, you do a certain amount of control, so your inertia is gonna keep it under control. If you have this lawnmower and it's automated, how are you gonna do that same kind of thing?
Yeah.
You haven't gotten that far.
No. Some of the
I was
guys
thinking
out
about
there
it
are.
because my house kind of goes up a hill like this, and when you go across that hill, you have to handle that thing.
You need to, my house doesn't have the hills anymore, a little hill, but come out, we'll hook mine up, we'll charge it, come out to my house and watch it. It's
It
really,
feels good on hills?
yeah,
I mean, do you have something in, what controls yours?
It does a pattern.
random pattern.
yeah, it just
Okay,
does a
but
random.
does it do feels, like it hits a bump, so if you hit a bump, you're gonna tend to wanna veer off one direction. What controls that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It just veers.
It just veers.
But when it goes through all its patterns, your yard will be cut.
Okay.
Yeah, it overlaps many, many, many times. It does circles, it does triangles, it does squares, it does a number of different things, and it changes. It's kind of like a Roomba,
Mhm.
where, it doesn't make any sense to us,
But it gets done.
but it gets done.
Yeah.
It's quite, if you watched it from start to finish, you'd be quite amazed, and you'd go, well, it missed a spot, and it missed this spot, but tomorrow when it goes out,
You get the spot.
it'll get that spot. So eventually, after a week, every part of your yard would be mowed, and then it's just out there maintaining.
Some of these guys are putting GPSs in them
Mm-hmm.
and tracking, and then
They're-
they're putting
They're way
level
overcomplicating
sensors in
it.
them, so they can put algorithms in there. If you're on a 5-degree slope,
Okay.
it's going to tend to want to pull this way, so you need to kick that stepper
Okay.
motor up so many pulses, and
They're way overcomplicating
Overkilling it,
it.
yeah.
So you're not starting out with, like a lawnmower chassis, starting with,
I'm planning on putting like a 2-foot by 18-inch or so
So what-
platform.
what's the spinning thing?
The blade,
The blade,
either X-Acto blade
X-Acto blade.
or the razor knife.
You better cut the grass?
It'll cut the grass.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
And some of the guys are going with a little higher RPM and using string.
Mm.
Using stringers, but I thought, but some
I've
of them
got
are
a
just pushing
battery
it.
operated string trimmer now, so those things will cut quite a bit.
Yeah.
And if you go with the lithium ion, whoa.
The one I've got is a commercial model. It's a maintenance thing. So even in the manual it says go out and mow your yard the first time. Set this thing up to go out every day after that for 3-4 hours a day, and
Okay, so it does it every day.
depends on the size of the yard. Like the yard that I'm at now, I probably would have to have it go out every day. When we lived in Hamilton, I had a small yard. It was every couple of days that I would send it out. But it's
Unless
amazing.
raining.
If it's rain, it won't go if it's raining.
Yeah.
Or in theory, it won't go if it's raining. But it's really a maintenance thing. And once the yard is where you like it, you still got to go out there and edge it and, you know, do the trimming around trees or whatever, because it won't get up around trees. But
And there are people making edgers though too,
yeah,
where it's got a little string cutter off on one side
yeah.
and sensor, so it'll just sit there and just kind of hugs around the edges.
But see, I had actually had thought about coming up with an edger myself, because that's the one thing that this doesn't do, and it's the one thing that's a pain in the butt to do.
The edger has to go over the curb though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So how you gonna keep it from
I
falling into the ditch?
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
It's just been one of those, I've thought about it, and if somebody could come up with a good robotic edger, that would blow away all these robotic lawnmowers, because you really wouldn't have to do anything.
One that knew where it was.
Yeah, well, that would be the hardest thing, I think, because I think you would need some sort of GPS or something.
Just have it roll off down the street, you know, in somebody else's yard.
Mine uses, it's not a dog fence, but it works like a dog fence. So it's got a, I don't know, a electric barrier, and once it gets near the barrier, it bounces off and it goes the other way.
It probably won't behave like a dog. German Shepherd across the street that periodically just runs through.
No, mine's supposed to work at a different frequency, so if the dog does have one of those collars on, it's not supposed to get the shock from it. Not supposed to. I don't know. I've never tested that. But I know that if it bounces outside of its border for some reason, it stops immediately. It just, all the power gets killed, and it sits there and starts making an awful buzzing noise for somebody to come and get it, because it doesn't have a clue where it's at. So it uses the electronic fencing to home where it's at, and it follows that electronic fencing back around to its charging station, and it self-charges, it self-maintains, and then once it's charged, like let's say you set it out, you want it to go out for 5 hours a day, the battery may only last 2 hours, so it'll go do something, go into its house and charge for the half hour, 45 minutes, come back out, it'll go back to the spot that it thinks it stopped because it counts its wheel revolutions, and it will start back up again, go for another couple hours, go back and charge up again, and go back out for the last hour. It's really, it's really an impressive.
Good employee.
Yeah, it's an impressive piece of technology, but I mean,
It was
what
only $50 on no.
it was $50 on Craigslist. I couldn't pass that up for $50. Now come on. But the new ones, or the ones that people are making, they're overkilling it. I mean, it's crazy, because if you just sit and think about how simple it is to it doesn't care where it's at. Just let it go. It doesn't need to be a pattern. It just does its own thing.
How does it keep track of where it's been? It's got some kind of memory matrix or something?
No.
It just goes. It doesn't.
It's not smart in that way.
It's not smart. It will count its wheel. The wheel revolutions. It'll count those for certain things. Like when it knows that it still needs to be out doing something, and it goes back to charge, it'll count backwards and go back to roughly the same spot.
Okay, that's roughly, because how accurate could that be? The wheels might split.
It might not start
Really, it's
exactly.
smarter than I thought it was.
It's smart, but it's not. I wouldn't call it accurate. I've watched it a few times. and it starts close to where it stopped, but it's not always, it's not right. And it doesn't matter, because it just starts in a circle pattern or a triangle or something.
And the Roomba starts in a circle pattern always, mine
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, so basically mine's a big giant Roomba for the yard.
That was one of my original thoughts, because I was thinking about, you have an old lawnmower, already gas powered, just need to control it.
That Roomba of mine it looks, my new one, that looks like it's relatively new, but using cheapened technology, it looks like a cheap model that they produce later.
That would surprise me one bit.
That's definitely a couple of rungs below, my other system. Hey, Brian.
Brian has to introduce himself now.
Yeah, Brian. What you up to these days?
Primarily college.
Primary colors?
Like
College.
primarily college, yeah.
Primary college?
I know you're working on some other stuff.
We got like an intervalometer for a camera.
What does that do?
Like a
Take it right here in my bag.
Oh, okay.
You have it.
Brian.
What do they call that?
Brian.
Short tail thing?
Brian's got all kinds of stuff.
Okay, it's got a joystick. Oh, he's got all the pieces. He's got a, 6002, what is that? The LED display.
Yeah, 16x2, and you can attach it to your camera right there.
Oh, so it's a shutter release.
Yeah, and it has like
He's got a nice camera too.
Doesn't work.
mm-hmm.
Oh!
For his pants got a nice camera. So what do you got, a distance sensor on there?
It's actually just a like a laser. Haven't gotten it to work yet. But yep, it has like a whole menu right there.
Oh, okay.
You can like shoot.
That's a 1602. Okay. Oh, okay. So you're giving it instructions. Is it talking to the camera RS-232 or ASCII?
It's just like, it's really simple. It's like high or low. It's like
Shutter control.
It's just kicking the shutter over.
Okay.
It's an electronic shutter.
Does it control duration?
Yep, you can control it with that.
Shoot 1 minute every 1 minute? Ah, 2
Might
minutes?
go up.
You can do time lapse. Ooh.
Now that would be.
What does the meter do?
The meter?
It looks like an analog meter there on the front. The silver thing.
This is just a laser.
Indicator on the back.
This is like a
The
laser
cylinder?
pointer.
This guy right there.
That's the battery.
Oh, okay.
Like how well the battery's doing. You can like in a software you can like read how much voltage it's getting through the VIN pin on there.
Okay. So you know if it's getting low or.
So you're gonna cover that up?
Yep.
That's a good job for a 3D printer. I'm working on one for BPA.
So it's an interval timer device? Okay. And the laser on the front of it,
Ah!
is that,
It just
is
lasered
that
me.
providing anything to us? What does that control? The laser, or just for fun?
I guess just
You trying to get some range finding off of it, or?
it's just supposed to like point out like what you're gonna shoot.
Okay.
Or see if something's there, maybe, to shoot? You could use ultrasonic to see if something's there. Are you okay? So you could do image or device or subject detection.
That's just a timer though, right?
Uh-huh.
Jim is throwing the next iteration in there.
So you could detect if there is something there, and the timer time's up, then you could take another shot. That's a good idea. Glad you thought of that. What chip you running on that?
The same chip as that, the 18 mega 328, I think.
He's built his own Arduino.
Oh, okay.
You
Before you had a
don't need all
project
the
with
other stuff.
parallax in there, didn't you?
What happened to parallax? You mean you run away from that?
No, I made a board for that too.
Mm.
Like supposed to be like, I try to make it like that a little bit, but the headers are more closer together.
But are you looking for any pieces? Like boards, PC boards, or relays, or?
Well, I have enough relays now.
Okay. What do you, so you don't need anything right now. Think of us if you're looking for junk.
What kind of relays are you using?
I have I think it's the 12 volt CL.
Something
20.
into it? How big are they? How big are they?
Oh, they're really small.
Okay.
There's circuit board now,
Okay.
Yeah.
which is what we're
Like-
dragging up
like
circuit boards
the
last
old
time.
Mercury wheel?
Should be able to print a box for that.
I'm using Tinkercad.
No, it'll probably be a little. That would be the trickiest part. And this.
You'd have to print up 4 or 5, you know, and then adjust things.
That's when the Dremel tool comes in.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, was just print a solid box, solid case with a screen already there, and then Dremel out the stuff, the actual holes.
And I guess another thing is, like when I plug it in there, it kind of like swivels. So I guess I want to keep that steady when I plug it in.
What you need to do once you get a case is
Get a sheet.
probably get a little piece that sits there and extends out so that your case sits on that.
Okay. I have like a threaded rod that can fit in there.
Yeah. So it would sit on the bar.
Or the flash shoe on the top.
Yeah. Well, except that he's got that.
Oh, okay. Well, you could put a cable on that, and you probably need a cable. You'd put it lock it in position, and then plug the cable in.
But yeah, there's a couple of other options. Is that a powered flash shoe?
I think it is.
So you may not want to stick something in there if it's powered.
Because usually make sure it's all plastic.
If it's all plastic, I guess it really wouldn't make a difference. But
Yeah, just an option.
but they make those extension bars.
Oh, okay. And then put a cable. You need a cable. You don't want that thing plugging in there. You'd bump it and it would crack the receptacle.
Could.
That'd be suicidal.
They make those extension bars specifically for stuff
Just
like
that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Extension bar.
Yeah. I don't think they're very expensive either. It's just a piece of metal with a screw on it.
You can prowl around and fill out a club requisition. Form 763A. Submitted to the executive committee
As long as it's cheap.
for the Saturday morning meeting. Yeah, as long as it's cheap. Frank knows us too well.
But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you use the funds from the Alumni Association. Yeah.
So how's the robot going?
Well, I haven't really worked on it.
We gotta come up with another paper. Get a 3D printer, we'll make some parts for you.
Hell,
I'm
look,
telling you, it's
3D printers are very, very handy for parts.
Yeah, I asked around at work for stepper motors or any servos, because they had bunches of that stuff laying around. They go, oh, no. Ryan took all that. He was working on robotic hands. He was a tinkerer, and he took all those motors.
I could 3D print some fingers for a robotic hand.
Yeah, that's actually real. Some people have really done real prosthetic things.
Yeah, mine wouldn't look real enough.
Didn't look real enough.
Right now I've got purple loaded in it, so unless you want a purple hand.
So if for 3D printers, if you're gonna go optimum, what would you get?
I mean, still in the realm of makers and the MakerBot is probably one of the better ones.
The $1,300 one or the $6,000 one?
It's like 2,400.
2,400. Okay, that's not bad.
It's open sourced, open hardware. I mean, technically, you probably could build your own MakerBot.
Probably got a MakerBot.
Yeah, Maker has released some of their sides and stuff that you could 3D print.
What was that website that you mentioned?
Open builds.
Open Build.
That's it right there.
If you go into router builds, and then the first Cartesian style. That Ox CNC machine is the one that I'm going to be basing mine off of. I just ordered the plates for it. I still have to order all the screws and hardware and those aluminum extrusion rails.
How big is that? Physical.
That particular one is 500 millimeters by 750 millimeters. So 500 millimeters, 750.
Okay.
Doesn't have too much of a drive on the V, the up and down. But my design's probably going to be a little bit different, so I can accommodate larger material if I need to.
Yeah, this doesn't have a lot of Z, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm starting out with this because my theory is I can make plates for my next machine on this one.
I've been, ever since I bought that really cheap Dremel tool from Harbor Freight, I've been toying around with the idea of making a CNC, because it'd be really nice to not have to sit there with the Dremel tool going. And I've got a 3D printer now. I could 3D print them out.
Yeah.
So I've got access to some. I was thinking about just building a small CNC.
Yeah.
So
I definitely want to get one that's about yay big. Doesn't have much of a cutting surface, but you put a etching bit on it, or not, an engraving bit rather.
yeah,
And you can put your PCB board in there, and
that's kind of what I
yeah.
would like to do.
And that's one of the things that I want to do with this board, or with this machine.
Yeah,
Try and design different heads that I can put on there, so I can take the router off, put like a solder paste squeezer, so I can apply solder paste to my circuit board, and then like, I don't know, a vacuum pump so I can do a pick and place machine with it. So I want to put a 3D print head up on there. I've got a 2-watt laser that I'm scoping out right now that I want to.
2 watts is
Enough to cut paper.
paper. You're not going to cut much with that.
Yeah.
But you
You're
probably
talking
could
about a
engrave.
Rapid laser, sure.
Yeah, I saw that.
You probably could engrave with 2 watts. I've worked for the company for just over a month now, and I don't know anything. Don't really talk to me. I know everything. I mean, it's all stepper motors and stepper drives, and it's the same thing. It's just got a laser on it.
Yeah.
But so that looks like one I probably could build. A little CNC would be nice.
Yeah.
So y'all wanna see a really cheap Arduino Wi-Fi thing you work?
Ooh, sure.
So, I see the antenna, I recognize that. What's the board?
That's the board?
That's the board. That's,
Holy cow.
that's the Wi-Fi board. That was that board that I bought a good month ago. It's taken that long to get here from China.
1 inch by 1/2 inch.
Yeah, this was $12.
Hmm.
So,
That's cheaper than the Ethernet shield that I bought.
well, when you look at like a regular Wi-Fi shield for the Arduinos, they're $75-$80.
Yeah.
$12. This
And,
is
you know, you have to
it's-
program it using.
it actually, well, when I plug it in, because I haven't programmed the Arduino yet to actually do this. There's a few quirky steps that I haven't quite gotten to yet, but it's running a little tiny web server. It actually-
Just like the,
Wow.
the real,
just like a router would be. So I could go into the web part of it, and we could pull up all kinds of configuration and everything else.
it's just miniature.
It $12.
I expect a video. You need a video out there. You get thousands of reads off that sucker.
Yeah, especially since there's not a whole lot of information about the $12 one. Once I actually started reading, I actually read the manual, and I went, oh, all the information's actually there,
Wow.
and it's actually readable, which was even more amazing.
If somebody read it.
It
Theoretically.
is mostly in English.
Okay.
There are a few sentences that are backwards, and there are a few, but it is mostly readable, and it's mostly, somebody actually paid attention. And
Yeah. Working at a Japanese-based company, I'm familiar with Jinglish.
So really, I don't have any code running on this Arduino yet, so I can't really show it controlling anything. But this is it's a Wi-Fi to serial adapter. It's TTL levels. Runs 3 volts. And from what I've read, from what little bit I've read, 3 volts is it. Don't try to.
Yeah.
3.3.
It's tolerant of 3.3, but nothing else. Don't try to do anything else.
USR-Wi-Fi
That's it.
232-T.
That's it. So you can just connect to that. It'll give you an IP address.
Oh, it's got the DHCP built in?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So,
Jeez. Oh, Pete.
why aren't you showing up on my? Why didn't you show up? Should have showed up. He stole it.
Wi-Fi networks.
It may only let me connect. It may only let one person connect to it.
I turned off my Wi-Fi.
There it is. See?
Ah, okay. Wow.
Secure.
I wouldn't go that far.
Wow.
Default secure.
1-bit security.
Because the regular shields, you
There it
can
is.
get 4 people connected to them.
Now you're connected. Now how do you talk to it?
Well, that's the actual tricky part. It connected and then it disconnected. Why did it disconnect? Now it says I'm connected.
Okay.
Well,
Can you
now
use
you
a what do they call it? Terminal emulator that runs Telnet?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I write down the IP? Wait. It should give me. connection information.
100.
So this is what I need right here. Yeah, it's in the 10 network. Just
With
fine.
a limit of 1 connection.
I didn't know that, but password is admin, username is admin, and there's the setup for it. And if we click here, this will, and I go and I scan for other networks, there's all the networks that it found in this immediate area. So I could actually connect to the public network.
Now is this Telnet or is this web?
No, this is web.
Okay.
From what I've read, to set up, to use the Telnet, I actually have to be running an Arduino sketch. I'm not running anything on the Arduino right now. The Arduino is just white power. Right at this particular moment in time.
So running Telnet on the Arduino, Arduino support Telnet?
Apparently.
Okay. They have a library that supports Telnet. I mean, really, Telnet is. We're not even talking Telnet. We're talking RS-232.
Yeah.
We're not going to go
So,
Telnet.
The tricky part, what you've got to do in order to get a laptop or a tablet or a phone or something to talk to it, you've got to set up a virtual COM port, and then you've got to redirect
You gotta
something
set the
to.
inputs and outputs to the inputs and outputs on your.
Yep,
Yeah. So it's just a terminal emulator, and it's really just a terminal emulator.
that's it.
That's it. Talking to a device that understands
You
RS-232.
you set up a virtual COM port, and then you redirect your outputs to that virtual COM port at 9600 baud or 15,000 baud or whatever you set it up for.
So in what circumstance would you use something like that versus buy something like a Beagle lawn that's got
Keeping track of your lawnmower.
I guess. Why would I want to use the Wi-Fi on the Arduino? So
I'm trying to think about the application.
You could be sending characters back and forth to change position, or where am I, or stop, go. You could do data
Yeah, weather
acquisition, Wi-Fi data acquisition. You could use it for remote I/O.
anything that you wanted to do with the Ethernet shield, you could do with that, and it's really just 2 wires.
These are all your remotes for your data acquisition machine. Wi-Fi. You got your Arduino out there, $12 Wi-Fi on it. Arduino over here, $12 Wi-Fi.
There's
You got
your
data acquisition
there's your
everywhere.
Internet of Things right there.
You can do data acquisition
And
big time.
These other 4 or 5 pins that are here,